Today we meet a survival fiction author who turned a life-altering health crisis into the spark that launched his writing career. Nearly after a decade, he was a VP in the tech world, working long hours and walking the corporate ladder, but after a sudden health crisis, he was forced to reevaluate everything he knew. Finally, after walking away and moved to a small land in Alaska, he finally found that spark of inspiration that was sleeping inside him, and start a book series who now has captivated the hearts of many in the genre. So we say now, welcome to Writing Inspiration with Markee Books. Hello Justin, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. How are you doing? It's good to be here.
Great. How do you feel today?
I feel good. I'm excited to do this interview. Got up and got a little bit of writing and editing done this morning. I always like to start the day that way.
Oh, I can imagine. So, Justin, can you tell us a little bit how did you become a writer? What did spark this interest?
Yeah, totally. I have always been a big reader. Like, I read The Lord of the Rings when I was like 5 or 6 for the first time. I was homeschooled and I just read I did a little bit of school every day and then read for 7 or 8 hours a day. I did a lot of reading. So yeah, I've always wanted to write, but I spent some time in the military. I spent a whole bunch of time in educational technology, managing software development. And then about 9 years ago now, I had some kidney cancer, which I recovered from fine. It's all good. Okay. But it really made me decide, I've always wanted to write. I've got stories I want to tell, and I'm not going to wait until I retire to do it. So I worked on getting out of my corporate job, moved to an island in Alaska, and started writing books.
When did this happen?
So I moved up here to Ketchikan, Alaska about 4 years ago. And that's when I left my corporate job and started writing books.
Sorry for the question, but how old are you?
I'm 51.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's a big shift. So what is your day job right now? Or are you a full-time writer?
I'm full-time on writing. I won't say I'm super successful at it, but I'm slowly building up the backlog in the books, and I hope to be a successful writer by the time my money runs out.
Oh, so you're using savings from the last job?
Some of it is savings, yeah. I'm not making enough from writing yet that it can cover all my expenses, but I've just released my 6th book, so it's building up.
Wow, already 6? Cool. So you write your first one 4 years ago?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. It was actually released about 2 years ago at this point. Is when I released. 3 years ago? Wow, now I can't even do the math in my head. It was in 23 that I released the first one. Yeah.
Oh, how long did it take you to finish that book?
So the first book, beginning to end, was around 11 months.
That's a very good timeline. That's great.
It's because I was able to focus on it full time. I usually, when I'm in the writing and working phase, it's a good 6 to 8 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week. So, and that was, I don't know, we can dive in a little bit to my writing process and kind of the timeline there. But one of the things I learned for me, because I've always wanted to write, and I think it's different for everyone, but I have to sit down and write a book from beginning to end before I start doing editing or anything like that. I've got to get it down on the paper. If I start editing while I'm writing, I get into what I call the death spiral of editing, and I'll never finish a book.
It's okay. Actually, it's recommended that it's exactly as you said, because it's very common that happens. But
I also tell people part of it's figuring out what works for you. I have a lot of friends who write on Royal Road. I don't know if you know of that site, but it's where people post authors post chapters as they write them, and they write a chapter and they edit it and post it up, and that's great. I love reading that, but I could never do that. But if it works for you, that's the way to go.
Yeah. Oh, so. Well, you mentioned The Lord of the Rings. Were you inspired by other authors before becoming a professional writer?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've read a ton. I mentioned The Lord of the Rings, Dragon Riders of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. I loved those. I pretty much read all the time, and I read a lot of free stuff online too, as far as Royal Road and fan fiction and stuff like that. But yeah, about I think it was 2016, 2017, I really started reading LitRPG. So stuff like Way of the Shaman, Play to Live, some of those early ones like that. And that's what I was really inspired by. And that's the genre I write in, is the lit RPG. My first series was way more fantasy based. So I'm inspired by stuff like Lord of the Rings. I've played a ton of Dungeons and Dragons and online role playing games. And my new series is a little more, I'm actually taking inspiration from city builders like Frostpunk or SimCity in some of the underlying parts of the story.
Okay. So, do you have any advice for any writers starting up right now?
Yeah, I think I already said it, but part of it is just figuring out the pattern that works for you. When I tried to start writing, a lot of times I would talk to an author that I respected and they would tell me their process and I would try to copy it. And then I would get frustrated when it didn't work. Like, talk to a lot of authors, learn their processes, but then experiment with them. I said, for me, like, writing the whole thing works good. Something that's worked really well for me, and I know some other people, is usually I get up in the morning if I'm in the writing phase and not the editing phase. I like start a chapter and start writing it. And then I go for a 5-mile walk and I spend that entire time thinking about the rest of the chapter.
Oh, I get what you mean.
And for me, I actually I have it somewhat planned out, but I have a vivid imagination. So I imagine it like while I'm walking, I'm watching the chapter like a movie and replaying it different ways. So then when I get back to the computer, it's kind of like transcribing what I saw in my head. That probably sounds really weird, but it works.
Oh, no. It's very normal, actually.
Yeah, and then finding the tools that work for you, like Scrivener, the software I write in. It took me a while to find that, but it's the way it's organized and laid out works with my brain. So it's great. I know some people who can't stand that software, but it has made things much easier for me.
So, can you tell me, did you edit your own books or do you have like a team working with you?
No, I do not. Well, I do some self-editing, but I have outside editors as well. I really respect those people who could do it all on their own, but I am not good enough to do that. So my process is generally I write the book and then I spend probably 2 or 3 months self-editing and working with beta readers. I have some incredible beta readers. They give me really good feedback. And then I have a guy, Chris, out of Portland, Oregon, Wickedly Deviant Publishing. I happened to find him on my first book, and he and I have a really good rapport. But so when I get it all cleaned up as clean as I can, then it goes to him for his beta read, his development edit, his line edit, his formatting edit, and his proofreading edit. So it usually spends another 2 or 3 months with him and us going back and forth to go through all the editing. I'm really picky. Like, I will get on the phone with him and we will spend 15 minutes arguing about a single comma. I probably drive him nuts, but he puts up with me.
Oh, God. So what was the most difficult thing you had to struggle when you start, walking this path?
I think being self-published, it was just finding the information. There's a lot of guides out there, but they're really not comprehensive, and putting it all together, like, how do you set up your Amazon, your KDP account? Like, how do you get it formatted? How do you do like, just all the things. And there was a lot that I didn't know on my first book or my second or my third. I feel like now I'm starting to, like, I know how to set up a pre-order. I know how to set up ads. I don't know if I do it all really well, but I at least know what I'm doing. So yeah, that was definitely the hardest, was just finding all the information.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Not many truly understand the process. And that's the thing with traditional. Traditional answered you everything. They gave you everything. The problem is that it's very competitive. It's not easy at all.
It's competitive. It's slower. There's advantages too. Like, I had no desire to learn about audio. So there's a really great company. I know the owners now. I met them at LitRPG Con, but Royal Guard Publishing has picked up the rights to both my series, and they've released all the audio for my first series, and they're working on the new series.
Audio? You mean audiobooks?
Yes. Oh. And that's great. Like, because I'm maxed out learning about how to do regular books. So I send them the transcript and they handle everything for audio. And that's great having a publisher for that for me. I have some friends who love audio and they do it all themselves. I'm like, nope, not for me.
Usually they need to transform the book into a script they can give to the actors, but it can be a little bit easier if you just read as normal, but it depends on your taste. If you want something a little bit more dramatic and professional, maybe transcripting the book into a script is better.
But yeah, so it's been great working with them for publishers on audio, but I really, now that I know what I'm doing, I enjoy self-publishing. I enjoy the control that comes with it, even if sometimes I get a little stressed out.
And we like it too, especially because if you weren't, you wouldn't have met us.
This is very true, yes.
Yeah, you know how jealous they are usually with these things. Like, really, they don't let you work with anyone they don't control.
Yeah.
I'm sure your editor is happy too about that.
This is great. I love working with them.
And, so do you do anything in particular when you get stuck in some place or block?
Yeah, I've had people ask this, and I've told it before. So I'm really regimented. So when I get stuck, I just push through. But there will often be, I've got the whole novel that's all written. And I don't know if you've ever written in Scrivener, but it has like separate files for each chapter. And I will literally have at the top of the chapter, like, this chapter really blank sucked. It needs a lot of editing. So for me, when I get stuck, I have a very general outline and I know what needs to happen in the chapter. And I just force myself to get something down on paper and get through it, knowing that I might have to spend a week editing it. But I've got to keep the progression going. So I tell people I brute force my way through getting stuck.
Oh, boy. Oh, I don't think I asked you, but what was your day job again before you retired?
I tell people I retired from the corporate world because I'm probably working more now than I did then. But
so just a salaryman.
Yeah, I worked for an education company. I was in charge of internal software development and some business development for that.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds cool.
Yeah, my official title is VP of System and Solution Development.
Right. You mentioned you were struggling with, cancer. How many years did that took you?
I mean, it happened 9 years ago. It was kidney cancer. So it was actually like they just went in and cut out part of my left kidney. Unfortunately, it hadn't spread. And then I have to get scans every now and then to make sure that it hasn't come back.
They didn't take everything?
No. I think it's the Da Vinci system. It's actually a robotic, like they put robot arms inside you that can cut out just exactly what is infected. Yeah,
it's just that I'm a bit paranoid when I hear that because I know already 2 people that have died months later. In your case, it's clearly not that because it has been years, but 2 people that already died because they didn't completely extract the organ contaminated.
I mean, we're going way off track here, which is fine. I got really lucky. They found it early. I had something else wrong. I had gallstones, and they did a scan and found the kidney tumor really, really early, which made it easy to do partial.
That's good. Did you get a transplant after that, or do you have one right now functional?
I still have 1.5 functional because they only took out about half of the left kidney. So I have all of my right kidney and half the left kidney.
Well, I assumed you're probably, giving yourself the diets, etc., and the healthy lifestyle you need.
I try to do that. That was one of the other parts. Being here in Alaska, there's a lot of hiking and walking. I try to get at least 5 miles a day.
Oh, wow, that's actually very impressive.
Just walking. I'm not going that fast. I'm not running or anything.
Well, if there's something in Alaska, places to run, like really. Oh, it's probably summer right now, so it's mostly green, I assume.
Yeah, and I live in Southeast Alaska, so like I can even go walking and hiking during the winter. People think Alaska is a frozen wasteland during the winter, but
I know it is only on some parts.
When you get north, yeah. So we're really far south. Maybe a foot or 2 of snow during the winter, and it doesn't, because we're right on the ocean. It doesn't actually get super cold here. We do get like 14 to 18 feet of rain a year, but not that much snow.
Well, that must be a really cold rain.
Yes, it's always green and there's always water running here.
Well, that sounds beautiful. So, going back to the books a little bit, can you tell us a little about your first book?
Yeah, so the first book is The Fort at the End of the World. And it is about this group of 5 friends who are out at a lake house for like a weekend of playing board games and role playing games. I don't know if you've ever read LitRPG,
Oh yeah,
but
I do know about role.
okay. So, and then the system comes to Earth. All technology stops working. Monsters start spawning. So, like the local wolves become larger and hostile, and plants come to life to attack. So, these 5 friends have to, the house they're at, they turn it into a fort. And they're defending the fort and then starting to rescue friends and family and other communities. I tell people that I love post-apocalyptic. I like The Walking Dead. I like that stuff, but I really hate how humans are usually jerks in those. So I wrote a post-apocalyptic story where something horrible happened. 95% of the world's population was killed. But as I tell people, it's the 95% that deserved it. And the people who are left are actually all working together and building a community. There's still a lot of challenges, and there's the monsters and the goblins they've got to face, but the humanity itself is like the good people who are actually working together. And it being a lit RPG, the group, there's the druid who is the main character. That's who's on the picture behind me. And then the healer and the cleric and the mage and the ranger.
Oh, wait, we were working in your first book before on the cover.
Yeah, so I found you guys, and it's really cool. I wanted to redo the covers on my books, particularly my first book.
So they were redesigns. I see.
Yes. This is kind of a spoiler. I don't think anyone else knows about the fact that I'm redoing the covers for my first 5-book series, and you guys are doing them all. So this is the sneak peek of what the new covers are going to look like. Part of it is,
we are already working in number 4.
Yes. You guys are doing an awesome job. It's so exciting to see them come in.
So one more to go.
Yeah. And then probably start working on book 2 of the next series. So I plan on, I've got that really cool pass thing you guys have where it's like pretty much just go nonstop.
When did you publish the 6th one? This year?
Yeah, that actually just came out last month. It's actually my 6th book. It's the first book in a new series.
That's cool.
My first 5-book series that you guys are redoing the covers on, that's a completed 5-book series.
Oh, can I give you some advice? Once we finish the covers for the redesign, I think you should publish the books again as a bundle and sell it together.
I might look into that in the future. I'm going to start out keeping them separate. Part of that is if I do an omnibus, it'll be in conjunction with the audiobook. Doing an omnibus if they ever do that. So omnibus stuff is kind of handled by my audiobook publisher. I am planning on having you guys go ahead and create an omnibus cover for me. So whenever I decide to do that, it'll be ready.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be like, yeah, that's what'll come after those 5 books. Yeah. Part of it was particularly with the first book, I'm sure talking to other authors, it's not cheap to self-publish. By the time you pay for all the editing and the cover. And I really, on my first book, I didn't put a lot of money into the cover. I put it into the editing, which I'm glad I did. But so yeah, I wanted to replace that cover. And then the cover on the paperback is different than the cover on the ebook because that needed to match the cover that was made for the audiobooks. I want to do that. And I also want to do hardcovers because right now I just have ebook and paperback. So you guys have made the cover for the audiobook, the ebook, the paperback, and the hardback.
It's okay. This could be special editions. That's why they should be like a higher quality.
And I actually, right after this meeting, I'm walking downtown. So Ketchikan is a cruise port. And during the summer, we have 6 or 7 ships a day come in on some days. So once a week, I walk down to our local game and bookstore and do book signings for 2 hours or so. Right. So I'm looking forward to next summer. I will have hardbacks to sell in addition to the paperbacks at the book signing.
Right. So this series of yours, will it be categorized as a teenage dystopian novel or, like Hunger Games and stuff like that?
I mean, it's definitely post-apocalyptic dystopian. It is not written as a young adult series. It's targeted more at adults. But that said, I guess I'm just kind of boring in that I don't there's no swearing and there's no sex. And it's like video game level violence in the books.
Don't worry. I'm one of the persons who think that just because something has swears and sex, it doesn't make it mature. There are a lot of TV series for adults that just have tons of swears and sex and everything, and they think they are mature when they are just using. When they're just using like the most childish jokes ever.
So I would definitely categorize it as adult dystopian fantasy, post-apocalyptic. But that said, I know because when I talk to people who buy the books, that when I'm doing the signing, some of them reach back out to me like it's totally appropriate for kids down to read on their own at like 12 or 13. There was actually this story like really touches me. There was a lady who was in with her sister like 2 months ago and bought the first book and then reached out to me online afterwards and said like her 12-year-old son, who's a really precocious reader, loved it. And this is like the first time he's been excited about a book because it was clean enough that she let him read it, but it wasn't like a teenage book. It was an adult book, if that makes sense. And I don't know, for me, hearing that there is some 12-year-old who's excited about reading again, thanks to my books, is like, that was the high point of my whole summer, I think.
Actually sounds great. And I mean, you read friggin' Lord of the Ring at 6. So it happens.
And I read it. I've read Lord of the Rings many, many times. And it was funny, like, I understood the story, but there was so much nuance that I would pick up in later years when I reread it. Like a 6-year-old can read it and get the general story, but at 6 years old, I missed a lot of the subtext and the like depth of the story.
Honestly, I'm more surprised because I have read the Lord of the Rings and I know that the English level there, it's not something a 6-year-old can process. I don't know if maybe it's because I'm younger than you and maybe the educational system is just worse now. But yeah. So yeah. Do you have any story of how you named your books?
So I wrote the entire book, was almost through the editing process. I still did not have a name for it. And then it honestly hit me out of the blue. I had the whole 5-book arc generally planned out. Like I kind of, with my books, when I'm writing it, I knew like the main 3 or 4 things that was going to happen in each book. And the fort at the end of the world stuck in my head. And I'm like, oh, wait, based on what's happening in the books, I can do the fort at the end of the world, the castle at the end of the world, the invasion at the end of the world, the kingdom at the end of the world, and the system at the end of the world. So it was kind of funny. Like it took me 9 months to figure out the name of book 1. And then I immediately knew the name of the whole series. It was also partially like as a reader, I hate series that don't end, but also as a first time self-publisher, I was like, I'm spending $3,000 to get this book edited and get a cover. What if I put it out there and 5 people read it? So I didn't want the first book to say that it was a series. Like I didn't want book 1. I didn't anything like that, because if no one read the book, I wasn't going to write a book 2. And I didn't want the 5 people who read book 1 to be all upset that the series ended. So that's what I liked about those titles too, is it really didn't, the title didn't say, hey, there's another book coming. So yeah, I also tell people as someone who's read a ton, I had like my pet peeves that other writers do that I didn't want to repeat. So, like my books don't end on cliffhangers. Starting with book 2, there's a summary of what happened before. And I really try to keep all the chapters around the same length, which I know is not proper writing style. Like if you read writing guides, they say, you vary chapter length to create tension and to do other stuff, which I totally get.
Oh yeah, but I usually don't take those completely, on the nose, because I mean, there's one rule that said that never start the book with a dream, and I said, why? What if your book is about dreams?
So yeah, and then I like when I'm reading a book if the chapters are all about the same length, because then I know like, okay, it's late, I need to go to bed, but it takes me 20 minutes to read a chapter so I can read one more. But if I start that chapter and then it's a quadruple long chapter and it takes me an hour, it'll bother me.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So what would be like your favorite book you've written so far?
Favorite book ever?
Yeah, like
It would have to be The Lord of the Rings.
between your six. No, I mean between the six you
of
wrote.
what I've written?
Yeah.
Oh, I would probably say the last book of my first series. Because it wrapped things up the way I wanted it to. I've definitely think my writing skill has improved as I've written each book. I mean, my first book obviously holds a special spot in my heart, but I think as far as quality and the way it came together, and also just getting to the end of a series, like obviously stuff changed along the way, but like it ended how I wanted it to end. And by that fifth book, the characters kind of did what they were going to do. Like I knew them so well by that point. It was a fun experience writing it, and I really like how it all came together. So I would say that one.
That's good to know. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your new series?
Yeah, I actually the first book is Rebuild the World, Alaska, and it's set in the same general area I live here in Alaska. About 3 hours away from Ketchikan is an island, Prince of Wales, which is the fourth largest island in North America.
Wow.
I've gone over there with friends and I've taken my parents over there. It's like one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's just gorgeous over there. Huge island, not a ton of people. So the general thrust of the story is our hero is over there. He's just moved to the island, becoming part of the community. And aliens are chasing criminals through our solar system. And they basically, their engines mess up our sun. Some of the criminals land on Earth, and our hero like gets contacted and basically is given nanotechnology and told, hey, we're chasing these criminals and we messed up your sun. Your planet is going to go into an ice age. Here's some nanotechnology. Try to build communities where people can survive negative 200-degree cold, and watch out for the criminal aliens that may be trying to kill you. And we'll come back in like 200 years and fix your sun.
Okay.
So it's got a lot of him having to use the nanotechnology to construct a new town that will survive the cold, like start rescuing people in other areas, and like working together with other people to protect as much of humanity as possible as everything is freezing over, supply lines are down, stuff like that. So it's a way more science fiction-y, if that's a word, post-apocalyptic thriller with some city building. Like I said, if you've ever played Civilization, SimCity,
I know the game.
Those sorts of games. So yeah, there's like research trees where the hero has to like focus on, do I use the research to make the housing better or the greenhouse better for food, and how do we get people around on the roads that are getting snowed in and the ocean that's starting to freeze?
It's quite different from your other series in a way.
Yes.
I guess this one is more on the social political aspect.
A little bit more of that, and the more science fiction-y, a lot more the hero being part of a large community. I suppose my first series, they are part of a community, but they're doing a ton off on their own. Whereas Devin in this one is always like in the community and stuff. But at the same time, it's still game lit RPG elements. It's still post-apocalyptic. And in this one, like there's, again, people are mostly good. Having lived here in Southeast Alaska for a while, there is definitely a stronger sense of community up here, I think, on these smaller islands where if I want to leave, I got to get on a plane or get on a boat. You can't drive to this island. When I order stuff from Amazon, it's like 10 days to 3 weeks for Prime shipping.
Well, I mean, if you literally have to use a boat or a plane to reach that place, so yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so changing a little bit the topic, thank you so much. What would your largest goal right now as an author?
Really, it's just to keep writing books that are what I want to write and that are also resonating with enough people that I'm not losing money while I'm writing them. I mean, I have the stories I want to tell, and this almost can come across as sounding rude, and I don't mean it that way, but I'm writing the books I want to read. I'm not as focused on like what's going to be popular. Obviously, I want other people to read my stuff, but I mean, and that's come up, like particularly my first series. There's really no hint of romance. There's not a lot of dialogue, particularly in the first book. And I tell people I wrote the story I wanted to read, and anything that I skim over in someone else's story, I didn't put in mine. If it's something that I'm like, I'm not big on the whole like angst and stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to hear the hero doing a multi-page thought over whether or not he made the right choice killing the person who was attacking him. He did what he had to do and he moves on.
Well,
I'm not.
It can be interesting in some cases, but it depends on the protagonist. I mean,
it totally can, and I'm not putting down people who write those stories. I love some stories that have that stuff in it, but that is usually the stuff that I gloss over a little more. So I've writing books that are the books I would want to read that also other people want to read is really my big goal. I love writing the stories. I love seeing them in print, and I really love feedback from people who've read my story and they've really enjoyed it. Something really resonated with them. It's just awesome, and this is what I've always wanted to do.
Well, as you say before, with the 12-year-old boy before, boys don't really like those overcomplicated stuff too. So it is really like that. So I'm pretty sure you have your own audience for this type of book.
Yeah,
and not everyone
change.
And not everyone wants a romance.
And yeah, that could totally change too. When I finish this next series, I've got a couple things that are kind of floating around in my head. I mean, I'm not limiting myself. If I get a really good idea, I'll run with it. Who knows? Maybe I'll start writing a post-apocalyptic romance.
Well, it's an experiment. Are you maybe interested in venturing other genres?
Right now, I would say no. I mean, I'm always, back when I had people report to me and I had everyone and myself, I believe in having like a 6-month, 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year plan, but you change it all the time. So I have no plans right now to go into other genres, but if something sparks my interest or I get a really great idea, I'm not opposed to it.
Okay. I mean, you could try horror. It's the closest to the genres you're already working.
Yeah, a lot of it is just I've got to have the idea, and if I have a great idea that excites me, I think I'll write it regardless of the genre. My first series did fairly well, and I know there were some people who wanted me to continue it, and it was the same way. It's like, I had a 5-book arc planned, and I was afraid if I kept writing without the inspiration, the quality would drop. So I was like, nope, I'm ending it at 5, just like I planned. I don't know if you watch Supernatural, but that show was great, and they had a 5-year plan, and I kept watching it. But after the 5 year, when they just kept going, it didn't stay as good.
Oh, yeah. I remember season 9.
So I cut you off there, though. I think you were going to ask me a question.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, how do you handle the marketing challenges?
There's a couple of things I do. One thing I think that helped me a lot is I love the LitRPG genre. So I had been active in the genre as a reader on the Facebook groups and in Reddit and stuff for like 5 or 6 years, I think, before my first book came out. So people knew me already before I started. So I think that helped when I posted in some of those groups of like, hey, I just wrote a book. It wasn't someone who'd like just found the genre and they'd never heard of before. So I think that helped somewhat. And then talking to other independent authors. I run Facebook ads and Amazon ads. And Amazon ads I've really picked up when I was out at LitRPG Con in July. I talked to some people out there who gave me some advice on that, and I've worked on that some. It's still a lot of just figuring out and trial and error. And then, yeah, doing stuff like this, I take opportunities that are presented. I mean, I'm really not someone who enjoys being on camera and interviewing, but I know like this is going to get my name out there to other readers who might be interested in my book. So taking these opportunities, I volunteered to be on a couple panels at LitRPG Con talking about my writing process and cozy fantasy. So, and yeah, same thing, walking downtown and sitting there for 2 hours signing books. It's not something that I'm super comfortable with, but I meet and talk to a lot of people, and it's really helped me be able to like create my elevator pitch for my books and stuff, because I talk to a whole bunch of people.
So, what are your plans for the future? Are you planning to go to a big event or something to promote yourself soon?
I'm planning to go to LitRPG Con again next summer. And anyone who happens to be on a cruise that comes through Ketchikan, you look me up at justinmarksauthor.com, send me a message, and I'll make sure to like go meet you at the game store, or you can come when I'm doing one of my signings. So that's pretty much it, though. And I'm looking next summer to potentially Parnassus Books here in town, doing signings there as well. So I may switch to doing those. And I have some friends who are also authors here in town, and we're looking at doing other events in Southeast Alaska next summer during the tourist season. Arts in the Cove over on Prince of Wales, the Southeast Alaska State Fair up in Haines, Alaska, stuff like that.
So, can you tell me in which platforms we can get your books right now?
Yeah, I'm Amazon exclusive. LitRPG is a really Kindle Unlimited is where almost everyone reads LitRPG. And as I'm sure you know, you have to be exclusive to Amazon in the ebook for that. So online ordering is through Amazon. My first series is available there in audiobook. It's also on Audible, obviously. Ebook, Kindle Unlimited, and paperback. And then my new series is also on Amazon. It's in ebook, Kindle Unlimited, paperback, and hardback. And Royal Guard Publishing is working on the audio. It should be out sometime next month.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then, you can, Gateway Games here in Ketchikan, they do have signed copies for sale there, and they will mail them out if you want to mail them.
Cool.
And if you follow me on Facebook, I'll usually post a couple times a year. I'll mail out signed copies if you want to order directly from me.
Can you tell us in which social media do you update the most lately?
Yeah, I try to, on Facebook, Justin Marks Author. I try to do a post at least once a week, just kind of what's going on with my writing, if there's any sales, if there's any other books I've been reading that I really enjoy. I really enjoy being on Blue Sky. So I have an account there, Writer in AK, so WRITERINAK, Writer in Alaska. And it kind of comes and goes. Sometimes I'll update there every day while I'm writing, and sometimes it might go a week without an update from me. But that's a little more spur of the moment thoughts. If you decide to check out my new book, the Rebuild the World Alaska, since it's set in Southeast Alaska and I've been to most of the places, on Blue Sky for like the 2 weeks before release, I posted pictures I had taken of all the locations. So it's like, hey, here's a picture of me in Kaufman Cove. Here's a picture looking down Tongass Narrows. Here's a picture sailing into Hollis, so that sort of stuff. That was kind of cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, it is.
And then also
cool.
Writer NAK on Instagram, but that's probably where I update the least. And then I'm active in the Facebook groups for LitRPG, and I post on the LitRPG Reddit as well. There's a list in the back of my books, particularly my new book is the most updated one, that has my socials, has my webpage, justinmarksauthor.com, and then a list of all the Reddit groups and Facebook groups that are just great communities if you like these types of stories, to talk to other readers and learn about new books.
Right. Well, Justin, I think that's all for now. Thank you so much for answering our questions and for coming today and talking with us.
Yeah, this was super fun.
I'm happy to hear that. Well, and I would love to interview you again. Knowing you, probably next year you'll have 3 books already.
I'm hoping to have 2 more books out by next summer and finish the first arc of the Rebuild the World series.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a 3-book series at least. Kind of depends on how well it's received. I've plotted out 3-book series, but depending on how I'm feeling as I'm writing and how it's selling, it might end up as a 3-book series, a 6 or a 9. I don't think it'll go beyond 9.
Oh, that's.
But yeah, I'd love to talk again. We can do another interview, talk about the new books, talk about the launch of the redone covers that you guys have done for me for the other books. I'm super excited. I think I'm supposed to get the redone book 4 soon, and I can't wait to see what that one looks like.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you, Justin, for joining us. See you next week. Bye.
Bye, Thanks. Justin. Bye, Dan.
Well, thanks for coming and joining us today. If you found this episode inspiring, like, subscribe, and share this video. And give Markee Books a try in the link below. Have a nice day and see you next week. Bye.